UN urges fair trial for Machar, monitors clashes in Upper Nile. The United Nations said on Monday it was closely monitoring the special court proceedings of South Sudan's suspended First Vice President Riek Machar and reiterated its call for the trial to meet international standards. UN spokesperson Staffan Dujarric told reporters in New York that the UN mission in South Sudan, UNMISS, was following developments in Juba, where Machar and 7 allies appeared in court. Our mission reminds all concerned that the judicial process must adhere to international standards of fairness and transparency, with full respect for the rule of law and human rights, Dujarric said. Separately, Dujarric confirmed the UN was verifying reports of fresh clashes between government forces and armed elements affiliated with the White Army militia in Upper Nile State's Nasir County. He said casualties had been reported and reiterated international calls for an immediate cessation of hostilities. Machar's treason trial opened on Monday morning under tight security in the capital. His lead defense lawyer, Jerry Raimondo Legg, argued the court was unconstitutional and unlawful, saying Machar still retained immunity as first vice president under the 2018 peace agreement. Machar's SPLMIO party has rejected charges of murder, treason, and crimes against humanity, linked to White Army militia attacks in Nasir County earlier this year. 7 senior allies, including the petroleum minister and the deputy army chief, were also charged earlier this month. Prosecutor Aho Oniohisa Igil dismissed the defense's claims as weak. Machar and President Salva Kiir currently serve together in a fragile transitional coalition formed under the 2018 peace deal that ended the civil war. Machar trial adjourned as defense challenges court's authority. September 23, 2025, Juba. A special court in South Sudan adjourned proceedings until Wednesday morning after a second session on Tuesday, centered on legal arguments questioning the court's authority to try First Vice President Riek Machar and 7 co-defendants. The hearing, presided over by Justice James Alala Deng, focused on a defense motion contesting the court's jurisdiction. Machar's lead defense lawyer argued that the tribunal lacked legal mandate to prosecute the suspended first vice president, stressing that his constitutional immunity must first be formally lifted before any trial can proceed. Prosecutors rejected the motion, insisting the charges, including treason, murder, and crimes against humanity, fall squarely within the special court's mandate. The defense arguments are weak and cannot stop justice, Prosecutor Aho Oniohisa Igil told the bench. The trial opened Monday under heavy security in Juba, marking Machar's first public appearance since being placed under house arrest in March. Alongside him stand 7 senior allies, among them the petroleum minister and deputy army chief of staff, who were indicted earlier this month. The SPLMIO, Machar's opposition party, has dismissed the charges as politically motivated. The accusations stem from alleged White Army militia attacks in Nasir County earlier this year that left dozens dead and displaced hundreds. The United Nations has called for the trial to meet international standards of fairness and transparency. UN spokesperson Staffan Dujarric said the world body was following the case closely, while also verifying reports of fresh clashes in Upper Nile State between government forces and armed groups linked to the White Army. Observers warn that the proceedings risk deepening divisions within South Sudan's fragile transitional coalition formed under the 2018 peace agreement that ended the civil war. President Salva Kiir and Machar remain uneasy partners in the power-sharing government. The court is expected to rule on the defense motion when hearings resume Wednesday. SSPDF accused of raiding WFP aid boat in Fungak. U.S. Embassy denounces pattern of looting. September 24, 2025, Juba. The United States Embassy in Juba has strongly condemned an incident in which soldiers from the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, SSPDF, allegedly boarded and looted a World Food Program, WFP, boat in New Fangak, Jonglei State. The action targeted food and relief supplies intended to aid civilians suffering from severe food insecurity. According to the embassy, the raid took place on September 7th. Though the WFP replaced the stolen goods on September 20th, the embassy described the incident as symptomatic of a worsening pattern of looting and rent-seeking by armed groups and individuals in positions of authority. It is especially egregious because the individuals involved are entrusted with their country's security, the embassy said. In its statement, the embassy demanded accountability and called on South Sudan's leaders to ensure the protection of aid operations. The embassy urged the transitional government to step up prevention of such attacks and demonstrate that it can be a reliable partner in humanitarian efforts. It expressed growing concern that government bodies in parts of Upper Nile State were impeding humanitarian access, especially to areas at risk of famine. The embassy also pressed leaders to lower the costs and risks associated with aid delivery and to use public revenue to respond to critical needs like paying civil servant and security force salaries. At the time of reporting, the SSPDF had not issued an official response. Army spokesperson Major General Lul Rue Koang stated that the military had not yet received a formal complaint from the U.S. Embassy. Background: aid access under threat in South Sudan. South Sudan is facing one of the world's most severe humanitarian crises. Conflict, flooding, displacement, and economic collapse have left large portions of the population dependent on international aid. Any disruption to food supply chains or the intimidation of aid workers exacerbates already dire conditions. Humanitarian agencies have repeatedly flagged incidents of aid diversion, obstruction, and violence against personnel. Each such event increases the operational risks for relief organizations and can discourage donor investment or presence. In Jonglei and Upper Nile, where insecurity is more intense, efforts to reach vulnerable populations are especially precarious. When military or government-affiliated forces interfere with aid delivery, it can undermine the legitimacy of the state and deepen public distrust. Calls grow for President Kiir to sack Information Minister Michael Machar. Juba, a new wave of criticism has emerged against South Sudan's long-serving Minister of Information, Communication Technology, and Postal Services, Honorable Michael Machar Luth, with commentators urging President Salva Kiir Mayardit to dismiss him from government. In a widely circulated opinion published this week, writer Jared McCoy Mayan described Machar's nearly two-decade tenure as a monument to inertia and argued that his presence in the cabinet was damaging the government's credibility at home and abroad. Machar, who has served as the government's chief spokesperson since 2005, has long been a controversial figure. While his supporters point to his consistency and loyalty to the administration, critics accuse him of poor leadership, corruption, and repeated public outbursts that have embarrassed the government internationally. Mayan's opinion accused the minister of failing to bring development or modernization to his ministry, while surrounding himself with allies from his home county. The piece further alleged that Machar relies on surrogates to attack critics on his behalf, portraying him as politically insecure. He does not elevate your government. He diminishes it. He does not defend your legacy. He tarnishes it, Mayan wrote, appealing directly to President Kiir to remove the minister. The article reflects growing frustration among sections of the public over the dominance of what critics call South Sudan's old guard, politicians who have remained in power since the signing of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement in 2005. The Ministry of Information has not publicly responded to the latest criticisms, and efforts to reach Machar for comment were unsuccessful. Political analysts note that Machar's dismissal would be highly significant, given his close ties to President Kiir and his position as one of the most senior figures in government. For now, however, there are no official indications that changes in the ministry are being considered. South Sudan court adjourns Machar trial. Final verdict expected September 29. September 24, 2025, Juba. The third day of hearings in the high-profile trial of South Sudan's suspended First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar Teni, Petroleum Minister Honorable Pute Kong Cole, and 6 other senior political and military figures has been adjourned until September 29, 2025, when the judges are expected to deliver a final verdict. According to the presiding panel, the upcoming sitting will mark a critical turning point in the case, with the court set to announce whether the accused are guilty or not guilty of the charges leveled against them. A trial under heavy scrutiny. The proceedings, broadcast live on national television, have been closely monitored by regional bodies, international observers, and the United Nations, which has repeatedly urged that the trial meet international standards of transparency and fairness. Dr. Machar, who has been under house arrest since March, appeared alongside his co-accused in Juba's Freedom Hall under tight security. Among those charged is Minister of Petroleum Put Khan Cole, a close ally of Machar and a prominent figure within the SPLMIO leadership. Defense versus prosecution. Earlier sessions were marked by intense exchanges between defense lawyers and prosecutors over the competence of the court and the sufficiency of the evidence presented. Delays have been frequent, with the prosecution at times requesting additional time to produce key documents. Public reactions. The trial has triggered a mixture of anxiety, hope, and skepticism across South Sudan. Civil society groups have voiced concern about political interference, while church leaders have appealed for forgiveness and reconciliation as a path to peace. Meanwhile, international human rights groups have warned that the outcome of the trial could either ease or inflame political tensions, depending on whether the process is perceived as credible. Next steps. With the adjournment until September 29th, all eyes remain on the judiciary. The verdict, once delivered, will have far-reaching implications not only for Dr. Machar's political future, but also for the fragile peace process in South Sudan.